80,000 words, 10 months of work, and my novel is finished. Okay, let's save this file and save. Whoa, what? Where'd it go? Where's my file? Uh, recycle bin? No. Hard drive? Not there. Where's my book? My book's gone. Where'd it go? Oh. Hi, authors. Today I'd like to share today's author tip, which is saving your work. It sounds like it's very elementary and that's something that we do all the time, but there are different methods for an author, and being that it is super important, being your book, there are different ways to go about this to ensure that nothing is lost and that you're making the best use of your time when you're writing. All of today's services are going to be focusing on being free. So if we can minimize our costs when trying to put together our book, that would certainly be ideal. The first method I'd like to talk about is pen and paper. It's a classic, and if you lose your internet or lose your computer, no problem. You've got a physical copy right there. Writing on pen and paper is a very intimate way of writing. If you're familiar with writing letters and cards, then you know that connection between pen and paper does have a special feeling to it and a special draw. Even though it has those benefits, there are some considerations to have in mind. If you can read your own handwriting, that's also important because my handwriting is pretty terrible. If I'm writing in a hurry and I try to go back and try to make sense out of it, it's a little dicey. So if you got really neat handwriting, then maybe writing on pen and paper is for you. Pen and paper is not fireproof, so that is a consideration, and it's fairly easy to get lost. So if you put it on a shelf with a bunch of other binders or books, then it could get lost that way, or just moving things around or moving for a different apartment or house, then that can get lost in the transition. Pen and paper can be a slow process. For some people, that might help them think through clearly. For others, it can be kind of an inhibition trying to get all those thoughts out as quickly as possible. Also, you have to consider any crossouts while writing, and editing can be kind of messy. So you might end up having to do a page over again, unless you're going to be transferring it to computer later. Typewriter, if you grew up with one, that could be a comfortable way of writing with the clickety clack of the keys. Or if you want to have that late 19th century feel, then a typewriter would be a way to do that. Or if you're writing a steampunk novel and you want to get into the scenery and the vibe of that, then by all means, pick up a typewriter. It's a little difficult making corrections. You have to get correction fluid or a correction tape, but a typewriter is a viable method. You can use a software program like Microsoft Word in order to type everything out and save the file and then print it out. So if you have the paper and the binder and you want to do something like that, that's one way you can save a physical copy. The downside to that is you have to have a lot of printer ink and the paper in order to do it. I know certainly the binder or the storage space in order to keep those. Local save file is very popular. After you're done your document, just save it to your desktop or save it into a file folder you have on your computer. This allows you to get some quick, easy access, and you have control over that document as long as it's on your computer. Another thing you can do is, in addition to the hard drive, you can get a USB flash drive and save it there as well. A con to having a local save file is if your computer suddenly goes kaput, or you have a laptop and it gets lost, or the USB has an error, and then all of a sudden that file is, for whatever reason, unreadable or unrecoverable. That is not as big of a problem today as it used to be, but it is an important consideration. If you want to go retro, there are floppy disk drives out there, and you can get floppy disks and use that older method, or use a CD and burn CDs. That's certainly two viable methods to have physical backups of your media. One excellent solution is cloud storage. This is a free online storage system that I use to transfer files from one computer to another, or just upload from my computer to download at a later date. So there's a lot of free options out there that allows you to have some space, and Word docs don't take up that much memory, so you can probably save pretty much all your books there without any problems. If you want to upload sound or video, then that would probably take space, and you would probably have to pay for a subscription service to keep those. But some of the other options out there are Google Drive, there's Microsoft OneDrive, Apple iCloud, and there's plenty of others out there. Do a search around and see which one fits for you. Another save option, and this is kind of like the cloud, is the Amazon KDP Vella. And Vella is a new service for Amazon that allows you to upload and save one episode or one chapter at a time of your book. And that way you're actually publishing as you're writing, which is pretty cool. So if copyright is a concern for you, this is probably the best protection, because as soon as you hit save on that document, then it is copywritten, uploaded, and published. So an excellent way. If you have followers of your work, then they can follow your stories as they're being written and then publish the final book. The downside to KDP Vella is if you're formatting, it can be a little tricky. It doesn't behave like Microsoft Word necessarily. And if you're on that browser and you click back or you click off or you close the browser, then whatever you typed is gone. So that can happen. There is a save button to press on there, but it's also easy to start writing and forget about that save button and then close the browser, remove it, and then that work is lost. So you certainly don't want to do that. In conclusion, the bottom line is the more places you can save and back up, the better, as long as security isn't a concern. So that's something you will probably want to guard, is to make sure that it's not something that can get out there and easily take in an entire book that's not published for somebody else to grab and publish in their name instead. So just make sure you have your copyright under consideration. What I like to do is open up Microsoft Word on my left screen and then have KDP on the right screen. And then I'll actually do the writing on the KDP screen and then copy it over to the Word document and save the Word document to my local file. And then from that local file, I will save it also to 2 USB pen drives or flash drives. And that way I have like 3 backups of it. Now when I have the file name, I'll use the file name with the date on it so I know which version I'm working on. I'll probably end up with like a couple hundred files with each day, but I know the newest date is the most recent version of my book. And then I'll take that file and upload it to Mega, the online cloud storage. It sounds like a lot of saving, but the more you practice this and the more exercise that you use in saving, it becomes like second nature and routine, and then you barely notice those extra clicks. What that'll do is that'll give you multiple save locations, so if you lose your computer, it's in the cloud. If for whatever reason the cloud service is down, it's on your computer. If you lose your computer and the cloud, you've got the USB drive, you can go to another computer. So these are all digital ways that can be done, and if you have a way to put it on physical media, by all means do that too. And then that way you have a way that you can share that physically with somebody else. If it's in a binder, they can read it and give you their thoughts and their notes. Or if all digital solutions fail, you do have that physical copy. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you would like to subscribe to the channel, that would be a great help to me. Also, I had written a fiction book called Psycho Author, and it is a comedy about a guy who goes a little crazy when he's trying to get published because he gets a little desperate and gets accused of murder. So feel free to check that out. It's on Amazon as well. And the author name is under Aegelis, Aegelis. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them below. I would love to read them, and I'll certainly do my best to help. Have a great day, and blessings be.